There is a date on the calendar that only you can see. Everyone else walks past it like any other day. They make their coffee, answer their emails, complain about the weather. And you wake up already carrying it, that quiet weight in your chest, because today would have been the day. The due date. The birthday. The first steps, the first word, the small hand reaching up for yours. An entire life was supposed to begin on this day, and instead you carry a silence no one around you can hear. Maybe it is the day the doctors gave you, the date circled on a calendar you could not bear to keep. Maybe it is the day you found out, the day the two lines appeared and the whole world tilted toward joy. Maybe it is the day everything went quiet, the day the news came, the day the future folded in on itself. Whatever date lives in you, it is a real date, and the grief it carries is real, no matter how invisible it has been to everyone around you. If you know exactly the date I am speaking of, if there is a day your body remembers even when your mind tries to forget, then you are in the right place tonight, and I want you to stay with me, because you are not going to spend this one alone. You have probably learned to hide it well. You show up. You function. You may even smile through the day while a whole invisible world presses behind your eyes. And when someone asks if you are alright, you say yes, because how could you possibly explain that today is your child's birthday, and your child never got to be born? Nobody sends cards for this anniversary. There is no cake, no gathering, no one who calls to say I know what today is, I am thinking of you. The world has no ceremony for the birthday of a baby who was never held, and so mothers like you learn to grieve in secret, to smile at work while something inside quietly breaks, to say I am fine while a whole invisible world of what might have been presses against your ribs. You have carried it alone for long enough. Tonight the silence around this date breaks, gently, and someone steps into it with you. Tonight, that secret ends. Tonight, this space becomes the ceremony the world forgot to give you. Before we go any further, if you are new to this channel, I want to gently invite you to subscribe, because this is a sanctuary built for hearts exactly like yours, hearts that carry a love with nowhere to place it, and I do not want you to walk these anniversaries alone anymore. Grief does not visit only on the calendar dates. It comes on a Tuesday afternoon in the cereal aisle. It comes when a stranger asks how many children you have and the floor tilts beneath you. It comes at 2 in the morning for no reason at all. When those moments arrive, and they will, you will want this prayer within reach, one touch away, ready to hold you the way it is about to hold you now. Let me tell you something that took me a long time to understand, and that I wish someone had told me sooner. The reason this particular grief cuts so deep is not weakness, and it is not that you are dwelling, no matter what anyone has implied. It is because you did not only lose a baby. You lost a future. You lost every birthday you had already imagined. You lost the school mornings, the scraped knees, the graduation, the wedding, the whole unlived life that had already taken root in your heart the moment you knew. And here is what makes it heavier still. Because there was no body to bury, no photographs to frame, no shared memories that others witnessed, the world gives you nothing to point to. Other losses come with a grave to visit, a face on the wall, a name others speak. Your loss came with none of that, and so even your grief has had to live in hiding, unwitnessed, unnamed, pressing quietly against the inside of your chest with nowhere to be seen. Grief researchers have a name for this. They call it the loss of the assumptive future, the mourning of a life that was promised to your heart but never given to your arms. And it is one of the most disenfranchised, least understood, most quietly devastating forms of grief a human being can carry. You are not broken, and you are not doing grief wrong. You are simply a mother whose love outlived the chance to raise the one she loved, and it has had nowhere to go but inward, year after year, on a day no one else could see. So no, you are not too sensitive. You are not stuck. You are a mother grieving a lifetime, and a lifetime is an enormous thing to grieve. We are going to take this date, which has always arrived in silence and left in silence, and we are going to fill it, for once, with words spoken aloud, with love made visible, with the simple and revolutionary act of refusing to let your child be forgotten. By the time this prayer is over, this anniversary will not feel the same. It cannot. Because tonight, for the first time, someone stood beside you on it. Let me tell you why this space is different, and why you can trust it with something as tender as this anniversary. This channel was created by someone who does not speak about this loss from the outside. She speaks from within it. A clinical therapist with more than 20 years of experience in the human nervous system, yes, but also a mother who has stood in a hospital hallway with empty arms, who has felt a due date arrive like a wave with no shore, who has learned, slowly and at great cost, how to carry a child who was never carried in her arms. There is a particular kind of comfort that can only come from someone who has been where you are. Advice from the outside, however well-meaning, often lands wrong, because it does not know the shape of the wound. But when the words come from someone who has lived it, they fit. They find the exact places that ache. That is the kind of comfort this prayer was built to give. That is why the words tonight will not feel like a script. They will feel like they come from someone who has walked ahead of you on this exact road and turned back to reach for your hand. And because of that dual understanding, the science of the body and the wisdom of the wound, I want to explain something that will change how you see this day. Your grief on anniversaries is not only emotional. It lives in your body, and your body keeps a calendar that your mind cannot override. Researchers call it the anniversary reaction. In the days before a significant date, even before you consciously count them, your nervous system begins to shift. Your sleep grows thin. A heaviness settles over you that you cannot quite explain. You feel more fragile, more tearful, more easily undone, and sometimes you do not even realize why until you look at the calendar and understand. Your body remembered before you did. You may have noticed it without understanding it. A low mood that descends in a certain week each year, weeks before you consciously connect it to the date. A restlessness, a sadness, a fragility that seems to come from nowhere. And then you glance at the calendar and it lands, and suddenly it all makes sense. Your body was counting down while your conscious mind was busy trying to move on. The two of them keep different calendars, and the body's is older, deeper, and far more faithful. This is not you being dramatic. This is biology. This is a nervous system that encoded the most significant events of your life, the joy of knowing, and the devastation of losing, and now marks their return the only way it knows how, through your body. The shame begins to lift. The self-blame loosens its grip. You stop treating your own tender heart as a problem to be fixed, and you begin, at last, to treat it as a wound that deserves care. Once you understand this, something shifts. You stop fighting yourself. You stop asking, why can I not just get over this? You begin, instead, to treat yourself the way you would treat any wounded creature approaching the anniversary of its deepest injury, with tenderness, with patience, with care. And here is the deeper truth beneath the biology, the one that turns science into comfort. Your body remembers because your body loved. It kept the calendar of your child because your child mattered to every cell of you. That heaviness you feel each year is not a malfunction. It is a monument. It is your body's own quiet way of refusing to forget, of honoring a life the world moved past. Instead of gritting your teeth and demanding that you feel normal, you can prepare for this date the way you would prepare for any tender, sacred day. You can clear space. You can lower your expectations of yourself. You can tell the people who are safe that this is a hard week, and let yourself be carried a little. You can stop treating the anniversary as an enemy to be defeated and start treating it as a wound that deserves gentleness on the day it always aches most. So when this anniversary presses down on you, you can meet it differently now. Instead of shame, you can place a hand on your own heart and say, my body is remembering my baby, and that is an act of love. The remembering that has cost you so much, that has arrived each year like a private storm, is about to be met, at last, by something larger than your loneliness. Tonight, we take that remembering, which has lived so long in loneliness, and we give it something it has never had. Witness. Ceremony. A prayer spoken over it. We are going to take the anniversary that has always arrived in silence and, for the first time, fill it with words, with presence, with the quiet, unshakable knowledge that your child is not forgotten, and neither are you. This is the ceremony you were owed and never given. Let it begin the slow work of turning this date from the loneliest day of your year into a sacred appointment with the child you love. Before we enter the prayer, let me prepare you gently, because how you receive these next minutes matters as much as the words themselves. Find a place where you can be undisturbed, where the world cannot reach you for a little while. If you are able, lower the lights. This prayer was made for the quiet hours, and it holds beautifully at bedtime, so if you are lying down, letting these words carry you towards sleep, that is exactly right. Many mothers return to this prayer night after night in the difficult season around an anniversary, letting it become the last voice they hear before the darkness, a hand held in the dark. If it feels right to you, place one hand over your heart and one hand low over your belly, over the place that once held the whole of your child's world. One hand feels the rise and fall of the heart that has grieved so faithfully. The other rests over the quiet space that was your baby's first and only earthly home. Between your two hands lives the whole of this love, and tonight your own touch becomes a kind of blessing, a way of telling your body that it is safe now, that it is held, that it does not have to carry this alone for one more night. These two places, your heart and your womb, are where this love has always lived, and tonight your own hands will become part of the comfort. Let this be a moment you protect for yourself, the way you would protect anything sacred. Let the rest of the world wait outside the door for a little while. Have something soft nearby. A blanket to pull close. Something to hold. And please hear me on this, because it matters more than you know. If tears come tonight, you do not need to stop them. Not here. This is the one place where you are never asked to be strong, never asked to hold it together, never asked to protect anyone else from the size of your love. Let the tears come if they come. They are not a sign that you are falling apart. They are the overflow of a love that has been held in for far too long, and they are welcome. During this prayer, there will be a moment when you are invited to speak your baby's name. If you named your little one, have that name ready in your heart, because it deserves to be spoken aloud tonight, on this day of all days. And if you never had the chance to name your baby, if it was too soon, then tonight, if you wish, you may give a name for the very first time, or simply hold them in your heart as my baby, my child, my little one. Whatever comes up for you as that moment approaches, let it come. Some mothers find the name pours out of them with tears. Others find their voice catches and only a whisper comes, and that whisper is enough. Others sit in silence and simply hold the name in the warmth of their chest, and heaven hears that just as clearly as any spoken word. There is no performance here, no right way to grieve out loud, only your own true heart doing what it needs to do. There is no wrong way to hold a love like this. If you are a father listening tonight, or a grandparent, or someone who loves a mother walking through this prayer belongs to you too. Your grief is real, even if the world has aimed all its little sympathy at the mother and left you to be the strong one. There is no strong one here tonight. There is only love, and love is allowed to break. This intention is not a task or a test. It is simply a small opening, a quiet yes, a willingness to stop holding everything so tightly for a few minutes and to let yourself be met. So much of grief is spent bracing, managing, holding it together for the sake of others. Tonight you are invited to do the opposite. To unclench. To let the weight be shared. To allow, just for the length of this prayer, someone else to help you carry what you have been carrying alone. Set one simple intention before we begin. You do not need to feel ready. You do not need to feel spiritual or calm or prepared. You only need to be willing to be held. Whisper it silently if you can. I am willing to let this love be witnessed tonight. That is all. That single willingness opens every door this prayer needs. And now, before we cross into the sacred part of this video, this is my last word to you before the words belong entirely to heaven, because once the prayer begins there will be no interruptions, nothing between you and the comfort coming toward you. So do this now. If this space has already touched something in you, subscribe, so that the next prayer, the next gentle experience, finds you on the next hard night. Save this so it is always near. Let your body grow heavy and receptive. Let your jaw soften, let your hands rest, let the weight of this day begin, even now, to be lifted from you. You do not have to hold anything for the next little while. You only have to receive. Breathe in slowly, and let the exhale be longer than the breath you drew. And when you are ready, feel your hands resting over your heart and your baby's first home, and let us begin. Creator, tender source of every soul that has ever been and ever will be, we come to you on this day that only a mother's heart remembers. You know the date. You have always known it. While the world walked past it unknowing, you have watched this beloved soul carry it in silence, year after year, and you have never once looked away. You were there on the day the joy first arrived, when a whole future opened like sunrise inside her. You were there in the waiting, in the dreaming, in the quiet plans made in the dark before sleep. And you were there, too, in the moment everything changed, in the silence where a heartbeat should have been. Through every silent birthday, every date the world forgot, every year she counted alone, you were counting with her. Not one of these anniversaries has passed unnoticed by heaven, however unnoticed it went on earth. And that is the truth we anchor tonight, that the loneliest days of her grief were never as lonely as they felt, because you were always there, keeping the date faithfully alongside her. You did not leave then, and you have not left in all the anniversaries since. Tonight, on this day that has always come wrapped in loneliness, we ask you to make your presence unmistakable. Let this precious mother feel, perhaps for the first time on this date, that she is not standing in her grief alone. For too long this mother has had to translate her grief into something palatable, something brief, something that would not make others uncomfortable. She has learned to shrink it, to summarize it, to say a small acceptable version of an enormous truth. But you require no translation, Lord. You do not need her to make her grief smaller so that you can bear to look at it. You see all of it, the full unedited weight, and you do not flinch, and you do not turn away. We come tonight not with the polished words the world expects of grief, but with the truth. This day is heavy. It has always been heavy. And we are done carrying it in secret. The weight she has carried in secret, that she learned to hide behind a steady face and a quiet yes, she now offers up to the only one strong enough to bear it with her. So we place it now into your hands, this anniversary, this ache, this whole invisible weight, because your hands are the only ones vast enough and gentle enough to hold what a mother carries. Father, Mother, Divine Love, we ask you first for the thing this world has never given her. Permission. Permission to grieve a lifetime, not just a loss. Permission to mourn every birthday that never came, every candle never lit, every year she has counted in silence while the world counted nothing at all. Let no voice, spoken or unspoken, ever again tell her that this grief has gone on too long, that she should be past it, that a love this large is somehow too much. You, who hold all of time in a single moment, you know that love does not obey a calendar. You know that a mother does not stop being a mother when a child goes home early. So tonight we ask you to lift the shame that has kept her grief hidden, and to replace it with the dignity it has always deserved. This is a comfort no human being has been able to give her, because human comfort, however kind, runs out of words at the edge of a grief this deep. Friends fall silent. Family changes the subject. Even those who love her most eventually reach the limit of what they know how to say. But your comfort has no limit and no edge. It reaches past the places where language fails, into the wordless center of the wound, where only you can go. Comfort her now, Lord, in the deep places that words cannot reach. Where this day has always brought a hollow ache, fill it with your nearness. Where the silence of this anniversary has felt unbearable, let it be filled instead with the sense of being seen. Slow her breathing. Loosen the tightness that has lived in her chest since the season this date belongs to. Ease the heaviness in her shoulders that returns each year without being invited. Let her body, which has faithfully remembered her child all this time, finally receive the message it has been aching to hear. You are allowed to rest now. You are not carrying this alone tonight. Someone sees. Someone stays. Wrap this beloved mother in your presence like a warm blanket pulled close on a cold night, and let her feel, maybe for the first time on this day, that the God who was there at the beginning is here still. Let her feel your nearness settle over the room like the first light of a quiet dawn, gentle, unhurried, certain. Let every cell of her tired body begin to understand that on this anniversary, unlike all the ones before, she is not standing in the dark by herself. The one who formed her child is here. The one who received that child home is here. And the love that connects the three of them is stronger than this day, stronger than this grief, stronger than the years of silence she has carried alone. And now, divine love, we turn our hearts toward the little one this day belongs to. On this date that would have been a beginning, we gather to speak the truth the world never made room for. This baby was real. This child existed. This little soul, however briefly, was here, was known, was loved with a love that began before the first heartbeat and has not dimmed by a single degree across all the years since. Beloved mother, this is your moment, and it has been waiting for you. If your baby has a name, speak it now, softly, aloud, or in the silence of your heart, and know that the instant you do, it is spoken in heaven. And if your little one was never named, you may give that gift now, on this day of all days, a name from a mother to her child, or simply hold them close as my baby, my love. And notice, beloved, what happens in your body as you speak it or hold it. For so long this name has lived only inside you, unspoken, pressed down, kept safe but kept silent. To let it exist in the open, even for a moment, even in a whisper, is to let your child be real in the world again, not a secret you carry but a person you honor. Feel the difference between hiding a name and speaking one. This is the difference between a love in exile and a love that is finally allowed to come home. Take your time. There is no hurry in eternity. Father, you have heard this name. You knew it before it was ever formed. Let it be written in your book of life, held there forever, never lost, never forgotten, no matter how many years pass or how silent the world remains. We thank you, Lord, for this child's life, however short the world would measure it. Because a life is not weighed in years. Some souls accomplish in a few weeks what others do not accomplish in 90 years. This little one turned an ordinary woman into a mother. This little one opened a chamber of love in a heart that did not know it could love so deeply. It changed the way she loves. It deepened her tenderness toward every fragile thing. It taught her, in the hardest possible way, what truly matters and what does not. A soul that could do all of that, in so short a time, was no small visitor to this world. It was a presence whose brief passage rearranged a human heart forever, and that is a legacy most long lives never leave. This little one left fingerprints on a life without ever once touching it with hands. The world measures a life by its length, by the years accumulated, the milestones reached, the things achieved. But heaven measures a life by the love it carried and the love it awakened, and by that measure your child's life was full, complete, overflowing. In the brief time this soul existed, it was loved more completely than many people are loved across an entire lifetime. That is not a life cut short. That is a life saturated with love from its first moment to its last. That is not a small existence. That is a sacred one, complete in its own way, whole in the eyes of heaven. And so on this anniversary, we do not only mourn what was lost. We celebrate what was real. On this anniversary above all others, when the absence feels sharpest and the silence loudest, let a different truth break through the ache. We ask you now, tender Creator, to let this mother know, in a way her heart can truly receive, that her baby is safe. Not lost somewhere in a cold and distant unknown. Safe. Home. Held in arms that never grow tired, in a place where there is no pain, no fear, no absence, no tears. Her child never knew a single moment of suffering in your presence, and never knew even one instant of feeling unloved. The whole of what this little soul experienced was love, and more love. Let her feel her child's peace tonight, not as an absence to be endured, but as a presence to be felt. Let her sense, in whatever gentle way you choose, that the bond between them was never severed, that her baby knows her still, that the love flows in both directions even now, from a mother's heart on this heavy day up to heaven, and from heaven back down into her waiting heart. Little one, if love could have kept you, you would be here now, and this day would be a celebration instead of an ache. And yet, in the truest sense, you have never left her. You live in her heart, which carries you into every room. You live in the mind of God, where no soul is ever erased. And you live in this very prayer, on this very night, being named, being honored, being loved. Stay here a moment, beloved, with your child held in the light of this prayer. Do not rush past it. This is what the anniversary was always meant to hold, not only the ache of absence, but the warmth of a love that never ended. Feel your little one near. Feel the bond that time has not touched. And let this be the truth that redefines this date forever, that it is not only the day you lost your baby, but the day, each year, that you get to love them out loud. Father, on this anniversary we come now to the quiet burden this mother has carried alongside her grief, the burden she rarely speaks of even to those closest to her. The guilt. You know, the questions that rise in her on days like this one, louder than on any other. What did I do? What did I miss? Could I have changed it? If only I had rested more, worried less, known sooner. You know how this day, of all days, sharpens those questions into blades. This mother has held a private trial in her mind for years, and on anniversaries the trial reconvenes, louder and crueler than ever. She is the accused, and she is also the one delivering the verdict, and the verdict is always the same, always guilty, always again. But tonight there is finally a voice for the defense, and it speaks with the authority of heaven and the evidence of truth, and it will not be silenced by her guilt any longer. So tonight, in your presence and with the full authority of your truth, we answer them once and for all. It was not her fault. The vast wisdom of the body that forms a life is beyond any mother's control, and what happened was not caused by anything she did or failed to do, not by her body's failing, not by her love falling short, not by a single choice she has replayed 1,000 times in the dark. You do not take a child to punish a mother. That is not who you are. You are not the author of her guilt. Every tear she has wept on every anniversary, you have kept. Not one has fallen unseen. And a God who treasures each tear is not a God who caused the wound that produced them. So let her release, tonight, the cruel idea that this loss was somehow her doing or her deserving. It was not a punishment. It was a sorrow, and you have grieved it alongside her from the very first moment. You are the one who gathers her tears in a bottle and counts each one as precious. So we speak now to that guilt, and we tell it that its time is over. It has lived in this heart long enough, disguising itself as love, whispering that to release it would be to abandon her baby. That is a lie, and on this sacred day we lay it to rest. The guilt has been masquerading as devotion, whispering that to release it would be to love her child less. Her child is not honored by her suffering, only by her love. A mother does not honor her child by carrying blame. She honors her child by carrying love. Beloved, if you can, place your hand over your heart right now and receive these words as truth. It was not my fault. Say it, softly. It was not my fault. And once more, letting it reach the deep places that have never believed it. It was not my fault. Father, seal that truth into her heart on this anniversary, so that when this date comes again next year, and the year after, the old accusation finds less and less room to enter. And Lord, if there is anger in her, on this day or any day, we bring that to you too. Anger at the unfairness. Anger at the emptiness of this date. Anger at the careless words of others, at the friends who forgot, at a world that moved on. Even anger at you. She does not have to hide it from you, and she does not have to be afraid of it. You are not fragile. You can hold the fury of a grieving mother as tenderly as you hold her tears, because you understand that her anger is only her love with nowhere left to go. Let her lay it down tonight, breath by breath, and let what remains be lighter. And so, gently, we come to forgiveness, not as a demand, but as a release. Let her forgive her own body, this faithful body that did everything it knew how to do, that grieved alongside her, that has remembered her child every year with aching loyalty. Let her forgive herself, the woman she was in those early days, who survived something unbearable the only way she could. And let her forgive, in your time and by your grace, the people whose forgetting has made this anniversary lonelier than it needed to be. She has been carrying these things not because she deserved to, but because no one ever told her she was allowed to set them down. She thought the carrying was part of being a good mother, that to release the guilt would be to love her child less. Tonight she learns the opposite. Setting down the burden is not a betrayal of her baby. It is the very thing her baby, safe and at peace, has been longing for her to do. We release it all into your hands tonight, Father, every heavy thing, and we trust you to carry what she can no longer hold. And feel, beloved, what happens in your body as the weight leaves it. Notice your shoulders. Notice your chest. Notice the breath that may come suddenly deeper than it has in a long while, as though your body itself is exhaling something it has held since the season this date belongs to. This is what release feels like. Not forgetting. Not letting go of your child. Simply letting go of the crushing things that were never yours to carry, so that your arms are finally free to hold only love. And now, tender healer, on this day that reopens the deepest wound, we ask you for the deepest mercy. Not the kind of healing that forgets, because this mother will never forget, and she should never have to. We ask for the kind of healing that transforms. The kind that takes a wound which still bleeds each anniversary and slowly, gently, turns it into a scar, still tender, still sacred, but no longer an open wound she falls into every year. She has waited so long for this, though she may not have known she was waiting. She has soldiered through each anniversary, gritting her teeth, getting through the day, telling herself that surviving was the same as healing. But surviving is not healing, and her heart knows the difference. Tonight we ask not merely that she survive this date one more time, but that something in her genuinely begins to mend, gently, from the inside, in the places no one else could reach. This is the mercy she has waited years for without knowing she was waiting. Pour your healing light into this beloved mother now. Let it begin at the crown of her head and move downward like warm golden light, slow and thorough, missing nothing. Let it rest upon her tired eyes, that have wept in private on so many of these days. Let it move through her throat, which has swallowed so many unspoken words, so many griefs she could not explain to anyone. Let it settle into her chest, into the heart that broke and learned to keep beating anyway, and let your light move gently into every crack, not to erase the breaking, but to fill it, the way the oldest and most beautiful vessels are mended, with gold poured into the very places where they broke, becoming more precious for having been broken. And Father, we ask you now to bless her body in the place the world treats with silence but heaven treats with reverence. The place that was her baby's first home. On this anniversary, let her feel that this part of her is not a monument to loss, but holy ground where love once lived. Where there has been emptiness on this day, let there be peace. Where there has been an ache with no name, let there be comfort. Let her know that her body was not a place of failure, but the first and only earthly home her child ever knew, a home filled with warmth, with nourishment, with safety, and with the steady sound of her heartbeat, which was all the music her baby ever needed. Release from her, Lord, the tension this anniversary always brings. The shallow breathing. The clenched shoulders. The heaviness behind the ribs. Let her nervous system, which has stood guard over this pain for so many years, finally receive your signal of safety and rest. So many of her nights, especially the nights near this date, have been thin and restless, her mind circling, her body tense, sleep arriving only in fragments if at all. Tonight, let it be different. Let this prayer become a lullaby for a grieving mother, the kind no one sang over her when the loss first came. Let her sink into rest the way a child sinks into a parent's arms, fully, trustingly, held. Let her wake gentler than she has woken in a long time. Let her body, which has braced against this date for so long, finally unclench in your presence. Let deep and gentle sleep return to her tonight. Let the days after this anniversary come softer than they have before. And Lord, if there is fear woven into her grief, the fear that healing means letting go, the fear that peace means forgetting, meet that fear with your truth. To heal is not to abandon her child. To find peace is not to leave them behind. Her baby, safe in your arms, does not want her mother frozen in sorrow. No child, in heaven or on earth, wishes their mother a lifetime of pain. Not words of blame. Not words of sorrow. Only the words every mother most needs to hear from the child she loves, spoken from a place of complete peace and boundless love. This healing does not ask her to love her child less, or to visit this grief less, or to feel the anniversary less. It asks only that the wound stop bleeding, that the ache soften into something she can carry with tenderness instead of terror. If her little one could speak to her on this anniversary, we believe the words would be simple and clear. Thank you for remembering me. Thank you for loving me still. I am safe, and I am at peace, and I want you to live, Mama, fully, gently, and free. Let that message settle into her heart tonight and remain there. Let this healing reach the part of her that has been most afraid, the part that believed she would carry this exact weight, unchanged, until the end of her days. Show her tonight that the weight can change. That the wound can become a scar. That the anniversary can soften. Not because her love grows smaller, but because her love finally has somewhere gentle to rest, instead of an open wound to fall into year after year. Father, as this prayer begins to draw toward its close, we ask you for one final gift on this anniversary, the gift of your eternal perspective, the view from your side of the veil. Remind this beloved mother that this separation, which feels so absolute on a day like today, is not the end of the story. In the vast and unhurried story you are writing, the story that outlasts every ending, no goodbye between those who love is ever the final word. This is the promise that changes everything about a day like today. Without it, this anniversary is only subtraction, only absence, only a counting of years that will never be lived. But with it, this date becomes something else entirely, a marker not only of separation but of a reunion drawing 1 year closer. Every anniversary that passes is not only a year further from the loss. It is a year nearer to the morning she has been promised. There will be a morning, Lord, beyond all these anniversaries, beyond all these silent birthdays, when this mother will hold her child at last. Not in longing. Not in a dream that fades with the dawn. In truth. Face to face. The embrace that this world postponed, heaven has only delayed, never cancelled. And on that morning, every anniversary she spent in tears, every date the world forgot, every candle she lit alone, will be gathered up and answered all at once, not with explanations, but with reunion, with her child finally, fully, in her arms. Until that morning comes, Father, let her live with her baby in her heart and heaven within her sight. Let the bond between them continue quietly, faithfully, in the language love speaks across the distance. In the sudden warmth she cannot explain. In the song that arrives at exactly the right moment. In the butterfly that lingers a heartbeat too long. In the dream where a small presence feels suddenly, achingly near. Give her the eyes to notice these gentle mercies, and the freedom to receive them without ever doubting her own heart. And now, Lord, on this anniversary, we ask you to help her mark this day differently from here forward. Not as a day of pure sorrow to be survived, but as a sacred day of remembrance to be honored. A day she can light a candle on purpose. A day she can speak her baby's name aloud. A day she can let herself both grieve and celebrate, because both are true, and both are love. For so long this date has arrived like a wave that knocks her down, something that happens to her, something she endures. But it does not have to remain that way. With your help, she can take this day into her own hands and make it hers, make it holy, make it a day of deliberate love rather than helpless sorrow. Not a day that happens to her, but a day she keeps, on purpose, in honor of the child she carries in her heart. Transform this anniversary, Father, from a wound she braces against into a holy appointment she keeps with her child, year after year, until the morning they meet. And we place her now, gently, into your keeping for the night ahead. As she rests, let your peace be the last thing she feels. Send your comfort to surround her, her room, her bed, her heart. Let the same everlasting arms that hold her baby hold her too, so that even in their separation, mother and child rest tonight in the very same embrace. Let them settle past every doubt, past every voice that ever made you feel your grief was too much or your love too long. Beloved soul, receive these final words as the truth they are. Your baby lived. Your baby mattered. Your baby was loved, is loved, and will always be loved. You are a mother, on this anniversary and on every day between now and forever, and nothing in all creation can take that from you. Your love was enough. You were enough. You are enough. You loved your child with everything you had, and everything you had was more than enough, on the day of the loss and on every anniversary since. And one day, on a morning brighter than any birthday you ever imagined, you will meet again. Let it be sealed not only for tonight, but for every anniversary still to come, so that this date is never again as heavy or as lonely as it has been. We seal this prayer, this healing, and this holy remembrance in the presence of divine love, who was, and is, and will be waiting on the morning of reunion. Amen, and amen, and amen. It is done. It is done. It is done. Rest now, beloved. The light of heaven glows softly in your heart, and your child rests in perfect peace. Let the seal of this prayer settle over you now like a blanket of light that does not lift when the words end. It travels with you into your sleep, into tomorrow, into the anniversaries still to come, into every room where this date has ever found you alone. You are not the same as you were when this prayer began. Something has been witnessed tonight that was never witnessed before, and it cannot be unwitnessed. Rest in that, beloved. Rest in the light. Your child is safe, and so, tonight, are you. Welcome back, gently, beloved. Take all the time you need to return. There is no rush tonight, and there never will be here. If you cried during this prayer, be proud of those tears, because every one of them was love made visible, and love like yours is the purest prayer heaven ever receives. In the days around this anniversary, be especially tender with yourself. Move slowly. Rest when you can. Drink water, breathe air, forgive yourself for whatever you cannot manage right now. Most people, when grief becomes too heavy, learn to avoid it, to push it down, to stay busy enough that it cannot catch them. And the world rewards that avoidance, calls it strength, calls it moving on. But avoidance is not healing, and the grief that is pushed down does not disappear, it only waits, and it grows heavier in the waiting. You chose the harder and braver path tonight. You turned and faced it. You let it be witnessed. And that choice, beloved, is the doorway to a healing that avoidance can never reach. You are doing something most people never have the courage to do. You are turning toward your grief instead of away from it, and you are letting it be held. That is not weakness. That is the bravest kind of love there is. I want you to know that this prayer does not end when the words end. What you gave witness to tonight keeps working in the quiet, in your sleep, in the softening that comes over the next few days. And I want to give you something to carry forward, a way to change this anniversary for every year to come. Starting tonight, this date does not have to be a day you simply survive in silence. It can become a day you honor on purpose. Light a candle for your little one each year. Speak their name out loud. Write it somewhere beautiful. Some mothers plant something living, a flower, a tree, so that love has a place to grow and to visit. These small acts matter more than you know, because they give your love somewhere to go, and a love with somewhere to go weighs so much less than a love kept hidden. Now, before you go, I want to ask you for something sacred, and I ask you to take it to heart. Go to the comments and write your baby's name. Just the name. Or, if there is no name, write the word remembered. Do you understand what that comment section is becoming? A memorial. A wall of names and love, each one honoring a life the world never celebrated, each one a light for the next mother who finds this video on her own silent anniversary, believing she is the only one who remembers. She is not. And neither are you. In that comment section, mothers who have never met become family. A woman in one country reads a name written by a woman on the other side of the world, and something passes between them that needs no translation, the silent understanding of two hearts that carry the same invisible weight. When you add your baby's name to that wall, you are not only honoring your own child. You are reaching across the darkness to hold the hand of a stranger who needed, more than anything, to know she was not the only one. You are part of a sisterhood no one ever asked to join, but within it, no one ever grieves alone again. And if your heart is ready, but only if it is, I had gently placed something in the very first comment, pinned at the top, for the mothers who feel ready to take the next small step in their healing, at their own pace, in their own time. It will be waiting there quietly whenever you feel ready, and there is no pressure at all, only an open door and a soft light. If this space brought you even a moment of comfort tonight, subscribe and turn on the bell, so that on your next hard night, the next prayer finds you. You will need it again, and that is not a sad thing, it is a merciful one, because now you have somewhere to turn. When the next hard date approaches, you will remember that this prayer is here, waiting, ready to hold you again exactly as it held you tonight. Save this video for the anniversaries still to come, and for the ordinary Tuesdays when grief arrives unannounced. And if you feel able, share it with a mother you love who carries this same silent date, because you may be handing her the one thing she has been aching for and did not know how to find. Thank you for trusting this space with something as sacred as your remembering. Sleep in peace tonight, beloved. You are held. Your baby is held. And the same gentle arms are holding you both. You came to this video carrying a date the whole world walked past, and you are leaving it with that same date transformed into something sacred, something witnessed, something shared. Nothing about tonight erased your loss, and nothing was ever meant to. But your love was finally given a place to be seen, and your child was finally spoken about loud, and you were finally, on this hardest of days, not alone. Carry that with you now, gently, all the way to the next anniversary, and every one after, until the morning you meet again.